Hi everyone, it's Jerry. I'm hopping into this hourly rapid arena. I'm going to play 2 games. Time controls 10+0. And as usual, just share my train of thought along the way. Okay, game 1. Let's go e4. Okay. I covered a couple of games not too far back. With the King's Indian attack setup, I'm going to try that against the French. So on d5, queen e2, knight d2. First thought, this c-pawn, what is it going to do? Obstructed. You could almost waste a tempo here. Play d4, d5, e5. This could end up being a struggling piece. This is crossing my mind. f4, d5, knight d2. I like having that duo. Then a follow-up knight f3 and queen e2. That could be a nice setup. I'll try to run with this one here. I'll go with f4. This is very strong. So this would be a consistent follow-up after e6. All right. This was the idea. I want to keep this pawn right where it's at and avoid the queen exchange. Okay. This is actually helpful. I could play c3. This is a useful move to get in. c3 controlling. If I could draw an arrow, my goodness. c3 taming the knight. Break the pin. I'll go with this one. This isn't one of those cases where black can claim, oh, this is a weakness. d3 is a hole and I'm going to take advantage of it. Just not really seeing it. So there's a sort of compounding effect this knight here obstructing the pawn has on black's position, because there's this question, where does the bishop go? Here is one of those half-developing moves. And if you try to go in this direction, you have a bishop that gets trapped. Okay, what's going through my mind here? e5 with then this? Could also start with d4. Remain flexible on e4. I have support for it. So if I play e5, maybe d5. Candidate moves d4. Knight going here. e5. How do I figure out which is best? This one here. The structure of c3 and d4 do a good job of restricting these two. This pawn restricts this one. Here takes, knight takes. Oh, in that position, there is queen captures d4, taking advantage of the pin. Okay, well, that narrows things down. I guess I'm going to go with knight here at the end of the day. Glad I spotted that one. Okay. Now where's this knight going next? Not sure. Queen e2 is healthy. g3 is healthy. I'll go with queen e2. Knight g6, g3. I'll have 2 pawns restricting the knights. Alrighty. And g3, I'm guessing. Should I include b4 so that... I'm guessing black wants to play b5. help the bishop. Wondering about b4, have the bishop go here, and it makes it that much harder for black to play b5, bishop b7. At the same time, this might be a bit too weakening here. This could be an idea, although I could follow up this one, this a3. Many ways to play it. I guess I'm alright even if the bishop goes in this direction. Trying to find the best move. Knight b3. Knight b3 is a way as well. You know, I like this. Knight b3. Pawn takes, pawn takes. And on that one, I think I want to play this now. Let's go with d4. No pin anymore. On a5, this. So this remains a clumsy piece. c8 bishop. These three, actually these four pieces are well under control. Prepared to take with the queen, that would be helpful in a way, as my bishop would have access to this square. I'm thinking less about fianchettoing now that my d pawn has moved. This is an excellent square, if I could get there conveniently. Also a question mark over the bishop, or the king. Now that the bishop is here, where's the queen go? Could grab space, but I do give the knight this square. Could treat it slower. Could go with bishop d2. I'll go bishop d2. Maybe hint at queenside castles. I have to pick up the pace. Yeah. Opponent continues to move fast. It's actually a very good move. I should have maybe tried to do something to hold that up. This move, I'm stopping bishop b5 and maybe looking at b4, a5. No queen knight around. Knight e5 could be a jump. Bishop back. I like this idea. Yeah, I'm going to put the knight in the center. This bishop could quickly be a bit of a bug. If there's the capture, recapture, bishop c6. On this one, queen check, okay. Opponent is not biting on e4. And I don't want to release the tension, so I will go with this one. To be a bit careful because of this diagonal opening up. Okay. Also, there's a target here. I'm going to change my mind. No fianchetto. e6 is a hole. Let's point at this. Also, there's a pin. No bishop b5 moves. No bishop around. I could have considered a5 first, rather than bishop here. Okay. That's a very direct move. I guess I'll take in this direction. Less ways to recapture. If I go here, maybe the knight could recapture. This square maybe opens up for the queen. Okay, d-file opened. Don't know how great a position I have here. Okay, I'm in a pin. c5 could be a move. I don't think I'm really better here. Rook's going to play to the file. Okay. I think I may want to initiate the exchange. I do have a possible target in this pawn here. Preparing to block. Queen here I could play here. On d4, play's going to sharpen. I do have, okay, that feels a bit helpful. There are a bunch of pawns on light squares. Alrighty. I'm going to pinpoint this one. There isn't a great knight move. Really do have to pick up the pace. I have queen c5 to hit this, bishop g2. I'm covering this diagonal. Knight here isn't a bother. Under control by the pawn. Okay. They are going for that. And I think this one's going to fall. I'll go to one of the more active squares, or I could strike the pawn in this way. Yeah, I like this one better because it covers a possible entry point on e2. The knight may have to return to watch over the pawn. So rook there, bishop g2, knight e7, rook d4 defending here. I'm ready to put all my weight on d5. Now, a downside with queen f3 is that she acts as the leader. She gets in the way of my bishop on g2 if my plan is to eventually crash through on d5. This could collapse in a moment for black if not careful. Now, that one I didn't see coming. Okay, I go here. Strike the pawn from a different angle. Now this could be dangerous. Are there any piece sacrifices here? I don't believe so. There isn't enough. I also am ready to exchange queens, so. Okay, knight there. So now this one. Exchange sacrifice idea? Maybe. Rook there. We exchange a bunch of stuff. And then the rook gets to the second rank. And that one I didn't see. Whoops. Rook e4 to a4. Okay. Move order. Bishop takes and knight takes. Rook takes rook. Queen takes, then I get to take here with check. I'll try that one. I think we're going into an even rook and pawn ending. Have to take in this direction. I can't take on b7. Queen is hitting the rook after queen captures rook. So that's unfortunate. I think I might want to hide over here. King g2, queen c2 I could block. Oof, that's strange. Going into a pin. Why the pin? Rook here, queen a1. That's very strange. All right, I'm going to go here. I'd like to see queen c2. Yeah, with this pawn up here, there's really no safe ground for my king on these diagonals. This frequently turns out to be a decent hiding spot for the king. Oh, queen exchange. I don't have any choice. Or maybe I did have a choice, but queen exchange is fine. This pawn is a liability at this stage. It should be winning now. Shouldn't have gone for the queen exchange. So I will be able to collect the pawn and I imagine prevent the black rook from becoming active. This was also an idea. Just sort of cutting the rook off, but this should be a clean approach. And definitely have to avoid the rook exchange there. This is a one king and pawn ending. One thing to watch out for is that these two, just make sure black doesn't create a passed a pawn. And that should be simple enough to prevent. In fact, I could prevent it right now. Or improve my king position I'm going to go with that one. King here, I could maintain a duo, create a wall. And the only way to really influence that, let's put this one on, the only way to influence that is eventually with g5, and I could always respond with f5. And we are seeing just that. King at this point tethered to the defense of the passed pawn. And now I could just approach this guy here. I'm just wondering if I should... Yeah, I think most accurate is this one, just clamp down. In fact, I have a tempo in reserve. I think this is the cleanest way to do it. In fact, I could escort this pawn rather than go after the A pawn. If we get into a stalemate situation, I'll be winning the races. This one I could take, this one I could push, and I'll be promoting with mate. And the same story over here, taking. My pawns are faster, so I'll actually work with this F pawn. That'll be my approach. We might see this one go straight to mate. Very even game, gotta say, for the bulk of it. I'm pretty sure that would be reading as equal. While the queens were still on, queen e4, probably the losing move. And certainly after the rook exchange, king and pawn ending, have to keep the rooks on there. Okay, that is the right way to do it if it's strictly just these figures alone remaining. Okay, and at this point I don't have to, I could still play it like that. But that's a way. I guess I'll demonstrate the potential mate and the idea that you could actually stalemate. Sort of. Stalemate the black king in this case. And you can chop away, and I'll be winning the race. 3 moves to mate. And rook or queen will do the trick. Okay. One more. Yeah, I'm wondering if I should have maybe played my queen to c5 rather than f3. It's one of the thoughts I'm having there. I should have really got more out of that opening middle game with how much my opponent's minor pieces I had under control with my structure alone. But, yeah, seems like that advantage was quickly wiped away with one wrong move, 1 or 2 wrong moves and inaccuracies. Okay, e4. Okay, we've played 3. I guess I could try the rat. Okay. Carlsen played the rat. I could try the rat. Yeah, we're not really going to see the rat here. I've played this before. I'll try this. D5, a tempo down. All right. I don't really mind wasting the tempo in this case. I keep this diagonal open for my bishop, and I think I want to go there right now. Yeah, let's do it. Bishop f5, d. Oh, just 1 square. Okay, I have to watch out for something here. g4. This one, g4 is faulty. It's queen h4. Yeah, let's sneak this one in. Knight here, this one, this one. So I see. Wow, this is reminding me of Leela Knight Odds. Leela Knight Odds has gone for this setup before, and this move is even reminding me of a game or two Leela has played. Loves the pawn on e5. I think I do want to hold up g4. Bishop takes would be a poison pawn. Yeah, I'll go with this one. Now, I do weaken this square, so knight f3 to g5 can be a thing. This would not be good. Okay, so knight's here, bishop here, questioning the move order. I think I may want to hold up knight g5 idea, or at least make white think twice about playing that move. Yeah, I'll go with bishop here first. I'd like to exchange this bishop off. All right, let's go with knight here first. All right, and knight h6. So a knight or queen here, and I could track the bishop. Also on h3, keeping the knight out, I have the typical clamp idea. h4, g3 becomes an idea. Oh, wait a second. Oh, okay, there's bishop here. I was thinking I'm just going to win material. Bishop doesn't have a... Well, it can't be defended is what I'm getting at. I'd have to fall back to f2 after knight g4. Okay. So I know that I could track the dark square bishop. Should I try to maybe scan for something on the dark squares? Like, I'll already picture this position as if I have the dark square bishop, and what would be a nice way to approach it? Yeah, I think I maybe need to start with this. And yeah, I'll go with this, knowing that the bishop is pretty much pinned to f2. If it goes anywhere, I have a fork. So I still have another moment to maybe try and stir up trouble. I'm half drawn to g5. I don't know if I'm ready to have this F file open up, though. Yeah, if this takes, bishop takes, knight takes, queen takes, knight f3. I don't know where I'm really going after that. Also, c5 could even hang. Yeah, forget about that. Ugh, terrible, terrible, terrible with the arrows. All right, a different plan. I'm assuming they want this. I don't want a castle. Maybe this one? I weaken b5, but what white piece is going to take advantage of b5? I guess there's a4. And then what? Maybe I'll make a slower move. A sort of passing move. I guess this one, not to create any weaknesses. a5, a4 comes to a dead end. Maybe I still retain the option to go queenside castles with this baby move. a6. I would really like to see this. I sort of have in my mind things mapped out. The clamp down. Okay, now this is my time to swipe the bishop. Although maybe I still don't even have to take the bishop. What about this idea? Looking at h3. b5 is another idea. No. If I'm going to not take the bishop, this here, in h3, my idea would be to not budge. Take, we have the discovered check. Follow-up idea g3. Or maybe simpler just to swipe that bishop right now and then play h4. All right, I'll track down the dark square bishop. It isn't their better bishop. This is the better bishop. Gonna have to pick up the pace. Want to keep this pawn right here. h4. This one, h3 takes. Then here. I don't know that I really like my bishop. Maybe another slower move. This queen here. Not really sure. I don't like touching this pawn and creating a weakness on f6. Rook there. Is this file really going to open up, the C file? Oh, it's moving faster. I think I'm going to keep the king in the center. Maybe I end up going with this. Although, before I go with if I am going to go with G6, all right. If I'm going to go with G6, I think I want to ensure my light square bishop is going to be traded off. Now, I could go with this one. I think I like this idea, where it's going to be a bit slower. Not a single pawn has been exchanged. Just one minor piece imbalance. Opponent has me doubled up on the clock. I gotta pick up the pace once more. So probably a lot less commentary at this point. All right, B5, A5, B4. This rook is going to want to go somewhere else. This rook somewhere else. Maybe B3 is played. B3, B5. If B5, A5. Okay, really gearing up for that capture. I'll push first. If bishop G4, and this one. Yeah. I'll go here. And on this capture, how am I recapturing? Can I get a knight here quickly? That break might happen. A little too soon. Yeah, don't like that idea. I'm going to go here. No, I covered okay. That rat game. Oh, a knight's ready to go in this square. That could be trouble. Okay. I'm going to have to play like this, I believe. And just wait for this square to open up. Knight on G6. I like that my rooks are more productive than white's. Some space here, space for white on E5. It feels like my rooks are closer to being more productive. I believe I'll be swiping the knight. Oh, this is an interesting one because takes knight here. Maybe I still go for that though. This one takes, this pawn takes. Knight E7, knight F4, knight G6, we trade knights. Maybe knight H5 is there? All right. I might even be able to play in a way. If that was the move where I could work around a white knight on F6, as odd as that may seem. Or sound. Do I have to take straight away? That's something I could. Yeah, I could consider holding off. Gotta get this break in. I'm trying to play with my furthest advanced pawn. Create a duo with this pawn. No duos with this invasive pawn. Now, if the rook moves, I have to be attentive to this. Okay, this is a window now to swipe the knight. You have to take with the pawn. And now I'm going to quickly transfer my knight here. Okay, so roundabout way, we do see this knight getting into this square. My queen on this square should be very good. I'm going to target this pawn. Make white think twice about knight F4. All right, and I'm going to go straight for it. King F8 to G7. Rook on open file. Yeah, I'm going to keep this rook right here. It may soon be the case my king replaces my knight. I don't see anything exciting for the rook. Like, to be careful that with this knight here, where's the flight square? Still doubled up on the clock here, 6-3. Like, I don't know, rook here, chop. You're gonna have to block the check. Okay. I'll go with this one. Yeah, especially after an exchange king here, if they try with that. Okay. I think now's the window to chop the pawn. Not seeing any tricks on these squares. I think I want to get one rook off. I think that would be very helpful. I guess they were considering taking with the queen there. So if they capture there and the queen went here, I could always go back over. I'm going to run it like this. And then try to go wild with my queen. And the queen activity should eventually force one of white's pieces into a restricted state. That really feels like a blunder. I'll go with the check. The rook is not connected with any other piece. And what happens if rook here? How's this pawn defended? Not seeing it. There's only one base point I have to watch over. And once my queen's here, there's that sort of role reversal. It stops any queen h5 ID, and my rook is free to become really active. I could, even after I pick off the pawn, pursue a queen exchange. In fact, this was the first move I was thinking about, but this pawn seems like it's going to be reeled in very soon. Pinned knight, rook not connected on any meaningful target. This is secure. If the queen and rook could get at f7, maybe there's something, but that's a long ways off. Okay, there's a gap here. One less square for the knight. Let me go ahead, swipe the pawn, and my rook is going to get activated next. Knight f4 can be a move. And there we see a case of a restricted queen. Constantly has to watch over g2, otherwise we're looking at checkmate. This is a base point. Okay, knight opened up. Our square opened up for the knight. Doesn't really matter, I don't think, which square. Maybe most precise is here. If the rook gets on this file, there's one less square it has available. I don't think that's a meaningful detail in this case, but all right, I'm going to go straight in for the check. Follow-up check here, and I should be winning the farm. Yeah. Takes, queen captures is not with check, so that gives me time to follow up with rook to a2. Chop. And then the old deflection. We should have a resigner, I would guess. It's quite the strategic game this one turned out to be, especially with that setup, c3, and d3. Had to make some slower moves, or at least I thought. Technical points, a6, queen c7, okay, and they resign there. All right, I'm going to stop. Those are two interesting games. Anyhow, feel free, as usual, to leave any feedback to this video in the comment section below. Hope you enjoyed it and maybe took a thing or two away. That's all for now. Take care. Bye.